Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Tuesday, December 20th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Peach Bowl game against Georgia is in 11 days. The game against Michigan in 340 days. I did want to start today's show by acknowledging some very serious news that broke on Monday night. Ohio State freshman offensive lineman Avery Henry announced on Twitter that he has been diagnosed with osteosarcoma, which is a form of bone cancer. Please keep him and his family in your thoughts and prayers. We will obviously let you know if there's any kind of a fundraiser set up to support Henry and his loved ones at any point. So far nothing, but we will keep you posted on that. And there is no easy transition out of that, so we're just going to switch gears abruptly to early signing day, which is tomorrow. Things are going to go right down to the wire between Ohio State and several of the nation's top prospects, including a pair of five-star defensive ends, whose recruitments are still probably too close to call as of Monday night. So to try to make sense of that, plus a crazy weekend in the transfer portal, I'm joined by Alex Gleitman of BuckeyeHuddle.com. Alex, let's start with a guy we talked about last week, Ajani Cornelius. He is the offensive lineman transferring from the University of Rhode Island, and he has been all over making visits over the past week or so. But it sounds like the one to Ohio State went pretty well, and it's not going to take too long to find out where he is going to be potentially headed.
Yeah, Tom, first off, thanks for mentioning that about Avery. Just wanted to send prayers and well wishes his way. But yeah, Ohio State hosted Ajani Cornelius this weekend for a visit. He was there Saturday and Sunday after coming from Tennessee, Friday into Saturday. With the transfer, it's a little bit different than a high school recruit. They're kind of, let's just get down to business. Let's get into the crux of why we're here. So spent a lot of time with Ryan Day and Justin Fry and Mickey Marotti, just really understanding their plan for him if he does come to Ohio State. This is a kid who he's going to announce his commitment on Wednesday at 6 p.m. It's going to go live at 6 p.m. Eastern time. You can watch it on his Instagram. He's going to have a little event up in Harlem, where he's from. But he is not, he wants to get this done quick, enroll at the school of his choice, and start getting prepared for the next 2 or 3 years of college football at wherever he picks. And so these visits were very down to business, straightforward, trying to understand exactly what the next, as I said, 2 or 3 years is going to look like in terms of developing him to become the player that he believes he'd become, achieve all his goals, both on and off the field. I think Ohio State did a really good job, but Tennessee, Oregon, Nebraska, the other finalists have done a really good job on their visits as well. So I could tell you this, as of recording this with you at about 8:30 on Monday night, Ajani still has not come to a decision. And a lot of people at home may be like, well, why is he rushing to make a decision if he doesn't know where he's going to go? I think this kid is he just wanted to get home, separate, get off those visit highs, sit down with his family, all the other people close to this decision, weigh out the pros and cons. And he felt pretty confident that come Wednesday night, he'll come to a decision now. Of course, if he's still undecided, he's not going to force something. This is a pretty mature kid. He's been in college for 3 years. So he is, not just going to rush to make a decision just to make a decision, but he feels pretty confident. Obviously, he's probably leaning a certain way, but I think he just wants to make sure of his decision over the next few days and then make the call on Wednesday night.
Well, and if you're wondering what's the hurry, why would you, if you're not 100% sure yet, why would you have to make the call? You got to remember, this is someone who is going to be enrolling at whatever school he wants to go to in the first or second week of January, depending on the academic calendar of whatever that school is. So, and a lot of these coaches who you're trying to talk to, well, I'm going to guess Ryan Day is going to have some bigger fish to fry next week than trying to, nail down a transfer offensive lineman or any other recruit next week. He's going to be a little busy prepping for the Peach Bowl. So, yes, you got to get it nailed down pretty quick, because then you got to figure out all the logistics of traveling and going to your new college and all that. I'm going to guess that you did not decide on your college destination 10 days or 14 days before you actually showed up on campus. I certainly didn't. So yeah, that is probably the reason for the tight timeline there. Another offensive lineman who was on that same kind of tight timeline that we had talked about last week as a possibility, Jeremiah Byers, transfer out of UTEP. He committed to Florida State on Monday night, so you can cross him off your list of potential transfers. Ohio State is also going head-to-head with another national powerhouse for a transfer tight end. You can find much more on that one in Alex's ADEC column at BuckeyeHuddle.com. You do have to be a member to read that, but as always, there's a ton more information there than we end up talking about on here. So that kind of covers some of the transfers. Again, there's a lot more in that ADEC column. at BuckeyeHuddle.com. But with national letters of intent starting to rolling in just over 24 hours at this point, goodness, there's still a ton of drama around a number of recruits, including a pair of 5-star defensive ends, another elite edge rusher, one of the Buckeyes cornerback commits, and more. You're going to be releasing your final calls on everyone on Tuesday, again, on the members-only huddle board at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Hey, remember all those times that I told you should join BuckeyeHuddle.com? This is when that pays off if you listen to me. But Alex, can you give us the latest on what you're hearing, and at least, one or two of those guys where everyone's kind of sitting around biting their nails, waiting for faxes to roll? Well, I guess it's not faxes anymore, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an exciting day for Ohio State, hopefully. Mateo Uegalele out of St. John Bosco in California is supposed to be signing and making his decision. That's obviously one that Ohio State is hoping goes their way. USC, Oregon, two schools much closer to home are schools that are in that mix. And so this is, there's USC smoke out there. There's some Oregon smoke out there. Is it just throwing people off the scent, or is it real? We'll see. I think that's one. And then one of their own commits, Kayan Lee, cornerback out of Georgia, visited Auburn a few weeks back. Miguel Patrick, who was his former high school coach and was on the staff, and a big reason why Ohio State felt so good about keeping his commitment for a while, is no longer at Ohio State. He's at UAB. So will Kayan Lee stick with Ohio State? Will he flip to Auburn? I think those are probably the two major storylines. But of course, could be plenty of surprises. Is there a running back that hops in late in this class? Is there a decommit we don't see coming? Is there a commitment, outside of running back that could jump into the mix? Does Damon Wilson shock the world and pick Ohio State over Georgia? So lots going on, and there could be a couple that we don't hear about on signing day that maybe we hear about later on, whether that's the next signing day or at some of the All-Star games in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and, just something to keep in the back of your mind. If you're expecting someone to sign and you don't hear that they signed, sometimes they have signed, but they're not announcing it because they're going to announce it at an All-Star game or something like that, or they want to announce it at a later date. That's something that Hero Canoe did last year. And, it counts. They are just as signed if they sign, but you won't end up hearing about it. So if someone you're expecting to hear signed doesn't end up signing or coming out that they signed on Wednesday, that does not necessarily mean it is time to panic. So just file that away in the back of your head. And then, as I mentioned earlier, you have a very big piece of content coming to the members-only huddle board at BuckeyeHuddle.com on Tuesday. Let people know what that is.
Yeah, Mark and I are getting our brains together, and we're doing a little combo A deck where we are predicting which players are going to go where on National Signing Day when it pertains to Ohio State. Looking at guys, like I mentioned, Damon Wilson, Mateo, we got Caleb Downs, we got Kayan Lee, a few others in the mix that we're going to be looking at. There's about 5 or 6 players and storylines that we're going to try to predict ahead of National Signing Day. It will be, quote unquote, our final calls. So we'll definitely have that on there, and we'll be sure to put plenty of other intel and information on the Buckeye Huddle, the Huddle message board for all of our members. So no better time to be a member of Buckeye Huddle. I truly mean that. No better time, especially with Christmas and right around the corner, Hanukkah ongoing, to give the gift of Buckeye Huddle as well for your loved ones and friends.
Yeah, this is as crazy a month as I can ever remember, and we have, just over the last couple of years, boy, there were some crazy months back in 2020, but this has been between the transfer portal and early signing day, and oh yes, there's a college football playoff game, and oh yes, potentially Ohio State and Michigan could be playing for the national championship in just over 2.5 weeks. Yeah, might be an eventful month or so to give BuckeyeHuddle.com a try. So sign up today, give it a shot. And I keep telling you about all these things that, well, you got to be a member, get on the huddle board, and then you can get all this insight from Alex above and beyond what you're getting here, and above and beyond what you get from Mark here, and above and beyond what you tomorrow we're going to talk about something that Tony wrote on the huddle board, and above and beyond what you get from that here. So a great time to sign up today. Membership is like $13 a month. Like you can probably pull that out of your couch cushions or your car, between the seats in your car. So sign up today at BuckeyeHuddle.com. We will, and then on Wednesday we have a very, very extended special for early signing day. That'll all be at YouTube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. Mark and Kevin have been working, just burning the midnight oil, working to put together a ton of great content for that. So you are going to want to make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel at YouTube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. That should be a early signing day extravaganza. Lots of content, answering your questions, telling you everything you could possibly need to know about the recruits and the guys who have signed, guys who are going somewhere else, all that stuff, all at youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle. That'll be Wednesday morning. We will see you there. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.